morning, everyone. We have a baby. We have a baby. He's so sweet. Last night was rough. It was also dark, so we didn't vlog any of it. He did great, but he did wake up every like 20 minutes or so. So Jessica and I got sleep in 10-minute increments. I tried to catch him before he woke up Jessica, but I think he woke her up every time.
It wasn't his fault. Like he, a lot of times, because my babies come out kind of quickly when I do the pushing phase, they don't like get squeezed out enough and they end up with like more mucus and I don't know, amniotic fluid or something inside of them. So what was happening is that he'd get settled and he'd be so sweet and he'd go to sleep and we'd put him down in his little bassinet, and after like 15-20 minutes he would start coughing up the mucus because he's like lying flat. It was kind of like he'd make like scary sounds and like ugh, and it wasn't like we had to get him and help him and burp him and stuff. Oh, he's so sweet right now. He's so cute. Come here.
So cute. This is like all night was like this. Like it wasn't bad. It was like he'd wake up and sputter a little bit, and then I'd pick him up and burp him, and he'd burp, and then he'd fall back asleep in my arms, and then put him down in his bed, and he'd sleep for maybe 20 minutes, and then he'd either spurt again, or the nurse would come in.
It was actually really funny because we were prepared with the nurses. I did request that they time their coming in like well, and they did. Like they tried really hard. One timing that I really appreciated was they came in and then they were like, okay, so I do have to come back in like 3 to 4 hours and you're gonna have him like feeding around then. Do you want to call me when you're ready and I'll try to do all my stuff then? I was like, yes. And we did that. It was great. But then there were a few other things throughout the night that they needed to come in for, like I think his ankle tag was falling off and like causing alarms for them, and there were just like a few other like odd things. And every time that they just happened to come in was a moment when we like had just gotten him to sleep and like we pulled our little sheets up in our separate sleeping zones. Christopher's is over here. And we'd like pull our sheets up, put our heads on the pillow, and then knock, knock, knock. And it was really funny because it was just like perfect timing, like for bad timing. Like
He has this ankle bracelet on that is set up to give off an alarm if he leaves the building or if it comes off of his foot, and that's just a security thing. And last night, 2 times in the middle of the night, they were like, there's something wrong with this ankle bracelet, we just need to make sure it's still on him. And it was fine. But in order to check it, they have to like unswaddle him. So he was like all bundled up. In one of the swaddles, I was really impressed with myself. I was really proud. It was like one of my best swaddles. I take a lot of pride in my swaddles. They had to undo it to see if his thing was there, and then he'd get cold and upset and why are my arms free? But he did well. He did go poop. He did pee. He has been breastfeeding. He does his burps. He's just a really sweet little baby. And Jessica's doctors come in already and checked on her. We haven't seen the pediatrician yet, but so far everything seems really good. Really good. And plus, cuddles.
his eyes are open.
Yeah, hold on, they're all freaking out. Hold
You're
on.
hearing the sounds of home?
I'm just gonna look at him for a few minutes. So cute! Hi, Teddy! His cheeks are so chubby!
Yeah, they are.
I love it. It's amazing! Oh, Teddy! Hi, baby! Oh, baby!
You see your big sister?
Hi, Teddy! I love you! Your eyes are so pretty! I love you! You're
your big sister?
Guys, you're so amazing. I love you.
Hello, bug. Yeah. Oh, sweetie. I love you. I love you. Thank you for holding my finger. Hi, see Daddy?
Hello.
That's your daddy.
You're so awake right now. This is the most awake you've been.
I want to pet his little head, but he's holding onto my fingers so tight.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
I'll do it. Hello.
Hello. Still waiting. So Teddy passed his newborn hearing screen, which is great news, because otherwise you just have to wait and do it again, and you know, more to wait for, more testing. And one of the lactation consultants that actually helped us with Luke was here today. So she checked in on Teddy, and he's doing really, really, really well with nursing. She saw him even like sputter a little bit, and she was like, oh, mommy's already making more milk than you even know what to do with, so give him a little hour break, which I've never had a baby be told to like take a little break from nursing when they're in the hospital, because I mean, it makes sense with the mucus and everything, but I'm so used to my babies kind of like losing weight a lot in the hospital and like going like, okay, well, let's keep at it. So it was kind of cool that he's doing so well. It was nice to hear, nice to experience. And I also got to tell her about Luke and how he did start nursing at 2 months because they never had that update. And that was really cool, because she was like, I love to hear like those stories, because we don't always get like the follow-up story. And she wasn't the main lactation consultant that helped us, who like came to our house and stuff. She was one of the ones that was here when we were at the hospital. But it was really sweet to kind of talk with her and tell her Luke's story a little bit. Sweetie, you're holding on so tight. Holding on so tight to Mama.
So we decided to do a little photo shoot with Teddy.
So I ended up coming home. I'm just for a little bit. I'm coming home to upload our video. I tried to upload it through the hospital last night, all night long, checking it, seeing the progress. It only got like a tiny fraction of the video uploaded, so I came here because our internet's a lot faster and I'll get it done. But mainly I came here to give the kids a hug. Like, if our kids were able to visit us at the hospital, I probably would not have made this trip out here to upload the video. I'd be like, whatever. But I kind of jumped at the opportunity to give all the other kids a hug. Even though I totally miss Teddy and want to be with him, it's kind of cool that I get to see the kids right now. So I'm excited about that. Plus, I get to pick up a little snack for Jessica on the way back. I think it all adds up. It's a good trip. So let's go see how the other kids are doing.
Hi.
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 Amazing? I bet he is.
He's totally amazing. Hi. Hi, Bailey. I missed you.
I missed you too.
Hi, buddy. Hi.
So I changed into my robe, and Christopher's actually running to go get some food, which I don't think he's ever left the hospital when I've had a baby before. So that's like a new thing for us. But he's going to do that right now. And little Teddy's sleeping like an angel. Little sweetie. And I realized, I don't think I mentioned this yesterday. I might have, I don't know. But one thing that was really nice about the delivery is that I didn't have any tearing at all or any stitches necessary. So that's just really nice because it makes the recovery like easier. And it was the same way for me for Luke, but I wasn't expecting it for Teddy because he's 2 pounds larger. So even when he came out, I was like, my first thought was like, did I just give birth to an elephant? Like, he felt so much bigger, and he's not even the biggest baby I've ever had. But like when he was being born, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the biggest baby. He's so big. And that's what it felt like. But I didn't end up with tearing or stitches or anything. And Parker still is the champion for largest baby. Teddy is the second largest though. That's pretty cool. And he was the most past my due date. So him and Parker kind of tied now. I feel like we've talked about his weight, but he's also pretty tall. Like, he's 21.5 inches long. So it was really interesting because I felt, they were like, you delivered the head, and I had the shoulders to deliver next. I think this is the stage in the pushing. I don't really totally remember, but I think I had either like partially delivered the head or delivered the, like the baby's head was out, and I felt him kick like above my belly button. Like, I felt his foot in me, like so far in me still. And that was wild. Like, it was wild to feel this like long baby. It's so interesting with me because I really have these moments where I'm like, oh my goodness, have I made a terrible mistake by not getting an epidural? Like, is this not going to happen for a long time? Am I going to be in this level of pain for hours? Because I don't want to do that. I have like a threshold and I'm like, this is it. And right when I get that to that threshold, that's when everything starts happening. So it was a slightly, maybe a little less fast this time. Like, I think I started feeling that and I went, you know what, let's talk epidural. If I'm not that far, because we've been like all day of not really progressing much. She checked me and I was at a 4. And then I was like, oh, I just can't believe that. I'm only at a 4. Let's like talk epidural. And then she was like, okay, let me check again. And she checked and it was a 5. And that was at 6:15 p.m. I was like, oh, only a 5. I just can't believe that. And she was like, okay, like I'll get you ready for the epidural, but like you actually went from a 4 to a 5 in a short amount of time. Just keep that in mind. And I thought that was like so cool. Like, that was the thing that kind of made me go like, oh, maybe I don't need the epidural. Like, and it wasn't pushy, it wasn't anything, but like the fact that the nurse who had also been offering the epidural the whole time was kind of like, you know, I've heard your stories and like, this is interesting. And then it started feeling worse and I was like, Christopher, oh man, like I'm really feeling pain. And Christopher was like, I didn't even know you were feeling anything, like that you were uncomfortable. I'm so sorry. Like, I couldn't even tell. I didn't know. I don't know what he was thinking there. I thought that was like an interesting thing because I didn't realize he didn't know, but I was like getting really uncomfortable. And then like 10 minutes later, I was like, okay, I'm really considering this epidural. Like, please, can you just check me again? And in my head, I kept going, okay, if I'm not a 7, I'm getting the epidural. If I'm not a 7, I'm getting the epidural. And she checked and she was like, you're a 7, actually probably an 8. And I was like, oh, and I was like having one, so I was like kind of out of it. And she was like, so I'm gonna go get him. And I was like, oh. And in my head, I was like, is she getting the epidural? Like, what's going on? And I went, who? Like, who? And she was like, I'm getting your doctor. You're having this baby right now. And I was like, oh. She left and like I had like maybe 1 or 2 more contractions and I felt this like sharpness that I was like, oh, okay, this has got to be the head coming down the birth canal. Like, this feels sharper, like, and ready to push kind of. So I told Christopher, I was like, okay, Christopher, call them. Like, I'm ready. I want to push now. Like, I want the, like, And it's basically, I was so uncomfortable that I just like wanted to get things done, right? So I was like, Christopher, call them now. And so he called and he was like, she's ready to push. And that's when everybody just flooded in. And at that point forward, like, I didn't want to open my eyes. I remember that. I remember just being like, and I kind of like peeked, and it felt like so many more people were in the room. My doctor was not there. Then the nurse came back, and then I think it was like right at shift change. So I don't know if the next nurse came or came just like a little bit later, like because my eyes were closed. But I was hearing voices and like all these people, and there was a guy there, and I don't know why the guy was there. And then there was the laborist who was like the backup doctor, because my doctor was at home, I think, or somewhere. He was somewhere and on call and like ready, but he wasn't like in the hospital building. And there were a lot of people that just set things up very quickly. My eyes were closed, but I could hear it. And they were introducing me to people, and I was like, yeah. Like I just didn't open my eyes at all. Like I felt really funny about that, but like I couldn't open my eyes. And I was just like concentrating through things. And at that point, I heard the nurse come in and say, okay, well, her doctor is 20 minutes off. Here's the laborist. She's the doctor available who can deliver in case your doctor doesn't get there in time. I was like, okay. And she was like, but just wait 20 minutes for your doctor. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And I couldn't like say it because I was so uncomfortable, but I was like saying it as best I could. I'd like to hear from Christopher like what I actually said, because I don't know, but I just remember being like, I don't want to wait for my doctor. And like saying it like at that level, because I couldn't talk any louder or like communicate any better, but just being like, no, I don't want to do that. The nurse was like, well, you should wait. And the laborist was like, no, she can, if she's saying she's uncomfortable and like she doesn't want to wait, so like we can do this. And I really appreciated that, and I was like, meh. And I really, really wanted my legs up in the stirrups. So basically I had been in sort of like a sitting position when nobody was there. I had changed the bed so that my feet were down and that I was kind of sitting up. And then they came and they prepare the room so you're kind of like a little bit more back and then feet up in stirrups. My inner thigh bones were hurting so badly when I'd feel a contraction, and that's what I really wanted to open my legs wide and get them up into those stirrups. Like that was my instinct and like my desire. And they had the stirrups there and my legs like in between them, and I was like like I think that's as best as I could communicate. And I wanted them up so bad. Like that's all I could think about was like, I need to get my legs up there and like that'll make this feel so much better. But I just couldn't say it. And the nurse at first was like, oh, well, no, we'll wait for your doctor. And the laborist, I heard her like advocating for me and being like, no, she can do it. And I was really appreciative of that. Like I definitely needed to do that. And I would have been really upset if I had to keep waiting. So I was really glad I got my legs up. And then like right in time, my doctor did show up. Like he was there, but I was more comfortable. I heard them saying like, he needs to get his booties on his shoes. And I was like, I didn't care. I knew somebody had to have been like somewhere close. I don't know, maybe Christopher saw what was going on, but I didn't care. I was like, no, I'm ready. Like I'm gonna push, and hopefully in my head I was like, at least hopefully someone's there, like if something happens, but like I'm not gonna like wait for him to get his booties on. And they were like joking about the fact that he was in his shorts and they'd never seen him in shorts before. And in my head I'm just like, let me get the baby out. Yeah, he was born at 6:55. Like it all happened really fast, like it does. It's just the thing that messes with my head is not knowing if it's like the time when it's not going to happen fast and something might be wrong, or like the cord's too short or it's too wrapped around the baby. And like whatever situation could like randomly turn into an emergency C-section. So that was in my head a lot yesterday. And it ended up happening kind of the way it happens for me, where I don't need the epidural because it's not like hours and hours of that transition pain that I do have, but it just happens like 20-30 minutes long, and like that's doable. I wouldn't want to do it for hours. Like I totally think getting an epidural is like a great option if that pain was lasting longer. Like I definitely was highly considering it, and it was like pretty ready. I'm glad I didn't need it just because it was easier. It's like easier after. I was definitely more like close than I've been since I had the epidural with Bailey. Like, it was my closest to getting an epidural delivery. But then also, you know, it went really well and I delivered intact and it ended up good. You just never know how it's gonna end up, right? He's so perfect. He's so perfect. Okay, so there's one thing that I snuck into the hospital bag after I made the hospital bag video, and I think it was a really good call to bring it. It's not a common household item, I don't think, I don't know. But this is a like massage gun, and it has different things that you can switch for that ball thing there. And it's a tool that I've been using throughout my pregnancy on my hips, like in the middle of the night, and kind of like my back area, and it's... Christopher is...
Gotcha.
Christopher is helping me out now. And it was something that I was like, I don't think I'm gonna want this during labor because I don't really like being touched when I'm in, like when I'm having contraction pains. I'd rather just not be touched. So I didn't think it would help me that much in labor, but I was like, maybe after labor would be amazing. And that's what's happening right now. And my area that hurts the most is like kind of above my tailbone. It's that same issue I was having when I was pregnant, which is like, I think it's, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think it's like the sacroiliac joint or something. And that area just feels like very weak, kind of like sharp pain whenever I walk. And I think that like it was already not in great shape during the pregnancy. And then during the delivery, you know, like you're using all those, like all your back muscles and stuff. So I think the issues I was having got a little exacerbated in the like labor and delivery process. So I have this great massage gun. It's so good. And anyway, I've been meaning to recommend this tool in pregnancy because it's something that I used all pregnancy long. And I think when I got it on Amazon, I think there was like a $30 or $40 off. So it was like $99, which is a lot of money. But like if you think of like the cost of a chiropractor or frequent massages, like this thing is gold. And it has, I think it has a lot right there. Stay right there a little bit. Anyway, I think it's one of those things that I used it almost every day. And I would, in the middle of the night, I would pull it out and I would use it on my hips when it was like sharp pain. So I really recommend it. And I think it could take the place of like, if you were planning on going to a massage or something and it's like the same cost, but this you can use all the time at home. And I also used, like, Christopher used it. I use it every once in a while on like lightly on the kids. So I just think it's something that we'll use beyond pregnancy too. So, and there might have been some that cost less than $99, but this is the one that I found that had like really high reviews and then also had the coupon for like $30 off. So it's like, yes. That feels really good too.
Jessica just turned off the camera and there was this big squirt sound from our baby, which means I think he probably did his second poop ever in his entire life.
Slept right through it.
No, his eyes were open. Now he's being sneaky. I'm pretending to be asleep so I won't make you cold and change your diaper. Maybe he's really asleep. I'm gonna have to change that diaper soon though, buddy. Yeah. Pretty soon. Gonna have to do it. Can't just sleep in it. All freshly changed. That was a good poop you did. Here's your number two. Does that feel better? Can you go back to sleep? You're just gonna look at me? That's fine with me. That's fine with me. So one thing that I did today is opened up the blinds in here, trying to make sure that he gets not direct sunlight, but natural light coming in on him, because they say that that's good for jaundice. He doesn't show any signs of jaundice yet, but some of our other kids have had jaundice in the past, and I'd like to help him as much as we can with Jessica's breastfeeding and with the light to make it so that he doesn't end up having to get like the Billy Rubin lights or anything like that. But if he does, he does, and that's fine too. What do you think about outside the womb? Pretty cool out here? What do you mean? You just yawned about it.
I thought there was going to be a lot more chaos because all I ever heard was chaos noises. Where are the chaos noises?
You'll get to meet all the chaos on Monday, okay? Hopefully tomorrow you'll get to meet all the chaos.
He thought there would be a lot more Hamilton. It's like, where is the singing, humming, and whistling?
You want more musical numbers?
Get ready.
I think your Auntie Panties will still be at our house. You'll get bonus musical numbers. My kids were telling me that it's really cool because they'll go on drives with Colleen and blast Broadway music, and all the people in the van are all singing together. I don't think it's going to be quiet when we get home. I think they're going to be pretty used to being as loud as possible. You want to have a little talk about tomorrow? Do you want to know how it's going to go? Hopefully, we get to take you home. And you get to meet your big sister. Her name's Bailey. And then Jacob is your biggest brother. And then you've got a lot of other big brothers. You also have Parker and Duncan and Luke. Luke's gonna be new at being a big brother, so cut him some slack, okay? And you'll also meet our dog Rue. She's very loud, but she's fluffy. You'll like her. You'll like her. And Mommy will be there, and Daddy will be there, and we will give you so many cuddles. And I think when you come home, Grandma will be there, and your Aunt Colleen will be there. We call her Auntie Panties. Funny story behind that. I'll explain that to you someday, okay? I think Grandpa will be there, and your Uncle Eric, and your cousin. His name is Flynn. And you have two more cousins, Layla and Brooklyn. You'll meet them later.
And 2 more cousins on the way.
And you have 2 more cousins on the way. So you're actually going to be one of the bigger cousins.
Very soon here.
Very soon. You'll be bigger than 2 of the cousins. Just right away. Does this make sense? You're very cute. He was taking a good nap, and then he started fussing a little bit and then spit up. And the spit up was mostly saliva, but there was some colostrum in there, which is early milk. It's like pre-milk. It's before the milk comes out. It's very nutritious for babies. It's a little more yellow than milk and a little thicker. And that's a really good sign that even though he spit up and that was kind of uncomfortable for him, we got to see that he's actually getting some of that colostrum from Jessica, from his breastfeeding. You're doing great. You're doing great. You're getting all those nutrients. How's that feel? Pretty good?
A little grumbly.
A little grumbly in the tumbly? That's okay. We did have to change his bed sheets and his swaddle blanket, but he handled it really well. For any new parents out there, when your newborn spits up, sometimes it can be really frightening, but if you do like baby classes beforehand or anything like that, you'll learn how to help. And then the nurses are always on standby here at the hospital, and they're available to help. We've had to call them in on some of our kids before. You get to learn how to use one of these guys. That sucks out all the stuff that's in their mouth and their throat.
Spit. Suck. Spit.
it.
Very good demonstration. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of that. Jessica just reminded me. It's a bulb syringe.
So I thought I'd show you really quick what the hospital provided for my dinner. They're very accommodating towards different like food preferences and diets. So I am vegetarian on their food list. I could be a pescatarian too, but I just put vegetarian, so they're giving me the vegetarian menu. I have a veggie burger today, and they have stuff and condiments and all that I'm about to put on. And there was a baked potato on my plate, but I ate it already and it was super good. They also earlier brought us a little birthday cake, and Chris ate his half and I was gonna eat mine, but I haven't been very hungry for it. That might have been it for my dinner, but it was just because I didn't order a lot. I had the option of like salads and other things.
Oh, it is 6:55, which means Teddy is 24 hours old. You're a whole day old now. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, you're a whole day old. 24 hours. What do you think of this place? Pretty fun? You know what we have out here that you might not have felt, but we were giving them to you? Kisses.
Ooh, I think he blew you a little kiss.
Yeah, he's trying to kiss me. You trying to give me kisses? Yeah. Oh, shivery shivers. There we go.
Happy day after your birthday.
You did it.
Happy first day of life to you. Kisses. I love you. I love you. Little sweetie angel. Hi. Hi.
So now that Teddy is 24 hours old, they're gonna do a few things with him. They're gonna give him a bath, probably wash his hair. They're going to get some blood out of his heel to do some tests with. What else do? They do a couple other things.
24 hours.
Yeah, after 24 hours, your comfort is done. They're gonna prick you. They're gonna make you all wet and cold and shivery. No more pampering for you.
Nice.
Lies.
He's like, what?
What? What now? Oh, the kisses will keep coming though.
The kids were asking what color eyes he has. You can't tell yet. Newborns often have like bluish eyes until they're even a year or older. And he does seem to have kind of, like, they're not obviously brown, I think, so they might be
Kind of
a lighter. Yeah, they're steely.
blue.
So they might turn like a lighter brown like Parker's, or they could be blue like Duncan's, or they could even be dark brown. And then his hair too, I feel like when he gets his bath, we'll have a better idea of how dark it really is. Because it looks brown, but it could get lighter once he has his little bath. Are you sleepy? Hi.
I think he's gonna be hair-wise, like between Parker and Luke. Like kind of in between those two guys.
Could be, yeah. Duncan, you could tell, had light hair right when he was born. It was like a reddish color. And then Jacob had kind of a brown, but he had a little bit less hair. Luke and Bailey had a lot of like brown hair, like and a lot. I feel like Teddy has just a very like normal amount of hair. I think like not a lot and not a little. We're so cool. You know that his eyes are pretty light though. You're about to get so fancy and clean.
He's gonna take a bath, get all clean.
Isn't your daddy the best? This is his before. What a look.
Here's the after.